For a few years in the 1970s, the Mr. Asia Syndicate made millions.
Heroin creates its own market. It acts like a form of plague.
Until jealousy, betrayal and murder brought it all crashing down.
Clark would have threatened him. Go and kill him. If you don't, I'm going to kill you and your wife and your son.
This is Mr. Asia, a forgotten history. Listen to episode 5 now on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Tonight in Dubai from 10 o'clock New Zealand time, the Black Caps take on India in the ICC Champions Trophy final. Black Caps coach Gary Stead is with us out of Dubai. Gary, thanks for taking the time for a chat. Let's start with personnel. What's the latest you can tell us about the likely involvement or not of Matt Henry?
Yeah, look, I mean, Matt obviously landed on his shoulder and was in a little bit of pain. So we're going to give him every opportunity. He'll have a fitness test tonight just to see how he's tracking, and we'll make a call after that whether he plays tomorrow or not. So until we have that, he has that bowl this evening, there's just a little bit of unknown around his readiness or not.
Is it his bowling shoulder that is the problem?
Yeah, it's his right shoulder. So, it's obviously important to him. It's not ideal, but unfortunately those things come with playing sport at times.
So if he is ruled out of the final, is it most likely, Gary, you'll go like for like and select another seamer?
Yeah, I think the different options we have, it's either that, and we've got, I guess, two other seamers in the squad, and Jacob Duffy and Nathan Smith. Or if we think the pitch will turn appreciatively, then we'd consider another batsman as well.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on that and keep our fingers crossed for Matt Henry. If you look at the pool game you played against India, 37 of the 45 overs India bowled at you in that game were spin overs. Is that what you're expecting again from them in the final?
Yeah, to be honest, we're not sure just because we haven't been down to the stadium yet to have a look at the pitch, and that will have a big bearing, I think, on the makeup of our side, but equally, I think the makeup of their side as well. But I'm not expecting India to have too many changes. I'm sure that Chakravarti will play against us, considering he got 5 wickets last time, which probably means they may only have 2 seamers. So we're certainly planning around that, but we have noticed early in the tournament that they did do it slightly differently though as well.
In your 11, you've got 4 spinners as well: Mitchell Santner, Michael Bracewell, Rachin Ravindra, Glenn Phillips. Could you foresee a scenario under which you might get 35 to even 40 overs from your spinners in the final? It depends on how it's going in the game and how much it does turn. I think you sort of the flip side of that. I think our seam bowlers have been really outstanding through this tournament for us as well. And Matt Henry's obviously leading wicket taker at the moment, but Kyle Jamieson and Will O'Rourke have chipped in with key spells and key wickets at times. So it would really depend on just the nature of the wicket and whether we do deem it to be more or tougher against spinners than pace bowlers. But until you get into the match, it's sometimes hard to know that. But the good thing is, as you alluded to, we have got, I guess, 40 overs of spin available to us there if we want it. When you look at the success of your seam bowlers, and in fact all the seam bowlers at this tournament, is the ability to vary pace and, in fact, to take pace off key to bowling well at this tournament in terms of taking wickets and keeping the runs down?
Yeah, look, we've talked about our seamers trying to keep the stumps in play as often as we can, as the wickets are a wee bit up and down in terms of variability of bounce. So that's been important to us. But you're right, it's also about when you get to those, I guess, death stages of the innings of not being too predictable. I mean, these the players these days have a great ability to clear the boundary and hit the ball out of the park. So I think one of the key things is your unpredictability and setting fields that you do have options for them to be able to either go straight or a little bit wider if that's the right option as well.
You've, of course, played India already in pool play. It was really the outlier in terms of the Black Caps' performances at this tournament. Are you able to write that game off as a bad day out, or can you take things of value from it that will be useful in the final? To be honest, we weren't that bad that day. I thought we bowled really well to restrict India to, I think it was 245 or somewhere around there, was good. We just struggled to get partnerships together that day, other than, I guess, Kane's 80-odd that he scored. We just struggled to, I guess, get those partnerships and probably slipped a little bit behind the run rate. So it's certainly something that we've been talking about, and if we are in a run chase, how we put them under pressure a little bit more, and that may mean some slight jigs in batting orders as well, just to, I guess, try and nullify their strengths as well.
The batting innings in the semi-final against South Africa, 362 for 6, batting first, centuries to Rachin Ravindra, Kane Williamson, good knocks from Daryl Mitchell and Glenn Phillips with strike rates right up there, right through the innings. Where does that innings rate among the 50-over innings you've overseen as Black Caps coach? Yeah,
it was obviously very good. The nice thing for us is we have all of our batsmen are in some really good form at the moment, and that's always important in a short tournament like this. So I think the build-up with the tri-series and against South Africa and Pakistan were important, and now it's just around, I think, us trusting the way that we're playing. I think the template, the blueprint that we're trying to play has obviously been successful, and I think the only thing to really remember is the conditions we've come from in Pakistan to UAE here are quite different. So it's about adapting and adapting fast to the conditions tomorrow when we do face India.
Yeah, Lahore was a bit of a road, wasn't it? Dubai not likely to be quite the same. Is it more 250, 260 par score batting first?
Yeah, I think the only real difference to that is you saw Aussie score 280 odd. And India chased that down, and it looked like it was a better wicket than the one we were on. They can sometimes be tricky to read here. The wickets, they sometimes look a little bit dull and grey, and sometimes they've got a shiny sheen on them. So it's really been able to read what's right out there. But you're right, the wickets in Pakistan are definitely more batter friendly. The 360 we scored, I think, was probably 40 or 50 runs above par. Which does augur well with the form of our batsmen.
Gary, with the ball, in the 50-over game, we know it's about, economy and keeping the runs down, but how important is taking wickets at regular intervals during a 50-over innings?
Yeah, I think the more you can take wickets, the more, one, pressure you put on the opposition, but two, you make it harder for them to get a really competitive sort of death stage of the innings at the ends, because you're asking the middle and lower order to do that rather than top order batsmen that are in. So one of our key strategies is around continually taking wickets, and if it does mean that we leak a few more runs earlier in that knowledge that we are trying to take wickets, then we're prepared to do that, because we've seen that if you can take early wickets, it certainly puts more pressure on the opposition.
One of your most effective bowlers at this tournament has been Michael Bracewell. He's your most economical. He's going for less than 4.5 and over. He's bowled his full complement in pretty much every game. He's picked up wickets as well, including 4 against Bangladesh. This is a bloke who really only started taking spin bowling seriously a few years ago. What have you made of Michael Bracewell's emergence as a white ball spinner for you in recent years?
He's done it the last couple of years for us, and probably more in T20 cricket, where at times he's opened the bowling for us as well and been a real strength. But I think one of Michael's great strengths is his accuracy. He's nice and tall. He gets bounce as well. The Indian players are probably more adept than others in playing off spin, and we did see that last time. Although he went for 55 or something like that off his 10, but still bowled pretty well, we thought, as well. So there's really fine margins, I guess, in having success and not having success at times. But he's been really instrumental, I think, in some of the successes that we've had throughout this tournament.
Gary, you've been around the game for a long time as a player and as a coach. You've played alongside and with many players. You've coached many, many players. Where does Rachin Ravindra rate among the New Zealand players you've seen at his age?
Right up there, yeah. There's no doubt he's a very, very special talent, and has the ability with the bat anyway, to score it or run a ball without looking like he's taking too much risk. And I think when you can do that, he certainly shows the skill sets that he's got and his ability to hit all around the ground. can definitely change a game. But you couple that then with his ability to bowl left arm spin, and I think in these conditions there's every chance he could take a very big part in the game that's coming up tomorrow.
And as Black Caps coach, you've overseen New Zealand in a World Cup final, the 50 over World Cup final 2019, a Test Championship final, a T20 World Cup final. How do you feel ahead of this game compared to how you remember feeling ahead of those matches?
I think the more you have those experiences, the more you learn that once it gets into the match, there's not actually too much you can control. It's really up to the preparation and making sure you've got guys in good headspace and there's a real belief in what we're doing. And I think throughout this tournament you have seen that. So, look, we'll I guess, dot our I's and cross our T's tonight at training and make sure everyone's nice and clear on the role and what we're asking them to do. And we'll complete our scouting today of India and make sure we've got our plans in action of how we want to play. But once the game starts, it's really over to the players then. And you cross your fingers and hope that everything you've done is put them in the right frame of mind to go out and compete and perform and hopefully get the win that we're all after.
Yeah, well, it won't surprise you to know that there are a lot of people back here stocking up on coffee and Red Bull and whatever it is that keeps them awake, getting ready for a 10 o'clock start tonight to watch the Black Caps in action against India, competing for the ICC Champions Trophy. Gary, from all of us, all the best to you and the team. We'll be watching through the night and wish you all the best. Thanks for taking the time for a chat.
Thanks, Piney. Cheers.
Thanks, Gary. Gary Stead, coach of the Black Caps, keeping it cool and calm as usual. You never get too many highs and lows from Gary Stead, do you? He's fairly considered in his comments and his analysis.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.